Right. Okay. We should be live.
Hello.
Hello, Richard.
Hello.
Hello, Ducky.
Hi.
Welcome to the channel.
Thanks very much.
And hello to everyone. I can see we've already got Scott, Tracy, Petra, and Madeline in the chat. So hello to you all.
Hello.
And yeah, so basically, Rich sent me some samples about a week ago or so. I think, Rich, was it?
I think it was last week. Yes.
Yeah, and they're very much. Well, tell me why you selected them.
Why did I select them? I just thought they'd got I was looking at ones that I didn't think you'd smelled before and that I hadn't sent you before. Okay. So I was just going for, and I know sometimes like you'll like smell like the last ones I sent you that you gave some to Dan. And I thought there'd be like some things that he might want to smell as well, but like if you don't want to, if you find one you like, you don't have to give him it. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
We'll just not tell him.
Cool. Yeah. He won't know. So there's no real reason you're not sort of picking a theme, or you're not thinking that they're ones I'm necessarily gonna love or hate or be repulsed by.
No. I would just like I know you'll say if you don't like it or not. So it's not a problem. I'm not one of those. You know, you get some people who are really like overly attached to their fragrances.
Yeah.
And if you say you don't like them, they get upset. I don't like that. I quite like it when people say they don't like it because you can take it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world if someone doesn't like your scent.
I think if you're going to get upset over that, then you're not going to do too well at life, are you?
No, that's right. I think you've got bigger problems if you're going to get upset by that.
Yeah. Right, who else have we got? We've got Lizzie Bean. I am Charlie Mouse says howdy. We've got John.
Hello.
Heather. Heather says the duck has changed its outfit.
That's right, I have. She must have been listening in.
Yeah.
I put a t-shirt on.
It's funny, Rich just said to me off before the live, he said, I've just got to put a t-shirt on and I'll be ready. And I said, are you going to show your face? But that's obviously a no, but he has got a new duck there with a new outfit.
That's right.
Right. So we've got Elaine and we've got Lisa. I think I already said hi to Scott. And okay, so shall we just dive in then? Do you remember what you sent me?
Absolutely nothing, but I imagine I've still got everything I sent you, so I'll be able to dig it out.
Right.
So okay. We can just go and do whatever you want to start with.
All right. Well, I'll start with Kazimi. That's number 1. So House of Matriarch Kazimi.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So we'll do that. I did smell this one the other day. I remember that, and I have smelled this one a long time ago.
Right.
Because I remember Peter. Fragrance for You, Peter, loved this one. And
yes.
Also, he used to really love Coco Blanc, and I remember smelling that, and it just wasn't what I expected. But Kazimi is the rose one.
Yes.
Yeah, I think my taste have changed since I last smelt it, because I don't remember really liking it that much. I didn't dislike it, but I feel like I like it more now, if that makes sense. I think.
Yeah.
Taste doesn't veer so sweet as it used to, which might be a part of it. So this is kind of like, it's like a rose and incense, isn't it?
Yeah, I get a wet rose, like a freshly wetted rose, like it's just rained.
Yeah.
Very fresh. Do you know when it's been muggy and quite like the weather's like at the minute, and then it rains and it gets very fresh.
Yeah, almost like a petrichor note, like the earthiness of the rain hitting the pavement or the soil.
Yeah, but it's not a patchouli. It doesn't go into Portrait of a Lady territory.
No,
it's sort of it has almost got like a petrichor. It's got like vibes of that, and I think that's something that I don't know if there's incense in it actually. But I know what you mean. That it gives it that sort of vibe. It gives it that sort of like, it's grounded, but it's also a little bit like airy. It's like you can tell there's like a difference between there's a difference between the top of the rose and the bottom, like the bottom of the rose closer to the earth and like more like rooty, and then you've got the top. It smells like there's a whole rose in here. Yeah, you know, there's like stem and leaf as well.
Yeah, like there's a greenness to it. Is there some vetiver in there? Because I get like a dry vetiver feel from it.
I don't know.
Remember?
Hold on. I will have a look. We'll have a
It's
look.
nice. And is there some cumin as well? Because I'm getting a touch of that kind of like dry curry-like cumin smell.
Warm spice. Warm
Definitely
spice.
spicy, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, give us a second. Where's Kazimi? Where are you?
I'm gonna put this on skin because I've saved a bit of skin and I think this needs to go on skin. They're all natural, aren't they? House of Matriarch.
Yeah, the House of Matriarch. Yeah, the House of Matriarch's all natural. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing how she builds them. I mean, you'll pay for it though. You will pay for it. There is an exotic spice. I'll tell you the notes, right? And this is what's listed on Fragrantica.
Yeah.
The top notes are rose oil, bourbon rose, and white ginger. The mid notes are rose oil, white rose, wild rose petals, and red cedar. The base notes are exotic spices, opopanax, oud, oak moss, ambergris, and hyrax.
Oh wow. Okay.
So there's the 7 different brews of rose in there.
Yeah.
That is a considerable amount of rose. But you were right. I don't know if it's actually cumin, but it says exotic spices.
Yeah.
So you were right to spot that out. And the white ginger at the top might give it that little bit of sort of like tang funk.
Yeah, and it's got, you can tell, I was going to say, is there a touch of oud or something animalic? Because it has got just an undertone, like not really dirty, but just a little bit of a kind of like just smelling like a cat or something, like musky.
Yeah, like a ground. Yeah, like an animal, like the ground somewhere close to the ground. Like a belly or something like that. There is hyrax in it.
Yeah,
and there is.
I usually hate.
Yeah, it's in very small dose apparently.
Yeah.
So's the ambergris. There's a little bit of ambergris in it as well, and a popanax. So like the resins and oud and the base might be doing what I was saying, giving it like a ground sort of vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice actually.
Yeah, I love it. I really love it. I get a wet vibe from it.
Yeah, ducks like to be wet, I understand.
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. Bobbing along.
Duck.
Wet, moist duck.
How is the performance of it on you, Rich? Does it last
Massive?
Very well, yeah.
Nuclear on me.
Yeah.
I can't get rid of it. It's huge. I find that with most of the matriarchs. But since she uses naturals, I think what she does is she packs them in to give performance.
Yeah.
I had the Longin, which actually sold, because I wasn't a huge fan of it. Like to me, it smelled a bit bitty. Do you know when you get orange? Do you know when you get orange juice with bits in it?
Yeah.
Right, and the taste lingers longer because you don't manage to you swallow all the liquid, but the bits sometimes can get like stuck in your mouth. Yeah. For me, that smelled, to me, the Longin smelled like plum juice, but with bits in it, and it lingered for ages, and I felt like it went a bit stale. It didn't develop very much. But some people absolutely raved about it. Like it had a butter note in it. That was quite nice. But I've got 4 House of Matriarch fragrances, and I've sold a couple of them. But I mean, I've got Sex Magic, Black Number 1, and I've got Orca as well. And they all perform hugely on me. And this Kazimi's massive.
I've got a small sample of one that I really like with Magus or something like that, I think it's called.
I haven't smelled it. I haven't even heard of it.
It's another quite sort of esoteric, incensey kind of thing, and I really like it. But that one doesn't perform brilliantly, so it kind of like falls off after sort of a few hours. But I need to give it another go because I really did like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't really. I've tried a few, but they were so long ago that I don't really remember. But I just remember Coco Blanc was getting a lot of hype, and it just wasn't sweet enough for me. It wasn't chocolatey enough for me at the time. Probably now I appreciate it a lot more, but back then I needed a lot more sweetness.
Yeah. It's funny how your taste changes over time, isn't it?
Mm.
Like there's loads of stuff that I when I first started my fragrance journey, there was loads of stuff I absolutely loved and I swore I'd never be without.
Yeah.
And then just like I went back to them like a couple of years ago and I ended up giving loads to me mate.
Yeah.
Same.
I mean,
Yeah,
I look sometimes on those videos, you know, like 10 fragrances for life and all that crap.
Yes.
And I've got, you know, you go back to see how you feel about them, and you're like, oh, I've actually sold 9 of them.
Yes, that's right. That's right. It's difficult. It's difficult to keep up. I look at my my perfumes I had like on Fragrantica, because that's like Fragrantica is where I keep like basically my record of perfumes, and like the perfumes I had are like I've got how many have I got there? Quite a lot, nearly 100. And I basically gave most of those away, and I was happy to as well. I would rather give them to my mate so he can enjoy them than just like sit on them and keep them in the hope that one day I might actually get some money back for.
Yeah,
I'd rather send them out into the world.
With fragrance, isn't it? Your tastes change, and you when you first get into it, you go mental, don't you? And you especially discover new notes and new accords that you didn't realize existed in perfumery. So for me, it was gourmands, and then it was incense. So I went mental buying everything. Then realize, you know, then you start to learn, and you're like, actually, I don't like fragrances that are all about incense. I like it as a small note. And then I don't like gourmands now that are full on just smell like food. They have to smell like a bit perfumey at the same time and have balance. But at the time, I just, anything that was listing loads of sweet notes, I was all over it. And not anymore. I'm really quite fussy these days.
Yeah, that's right. This is a little bit sweet. Kazimi's got a little bit of sweetness to it, but it's like a natural sweetness. It's like some fragrances you can get and they become very rich and sweet.
Yeah.
Like you can smell them and you'd be like, that's an overdose of sweetness, and then the sweetness doesn't go away and it starts getting strong. It's like them cakes, you know, you can buy a cake and the first bite of it's really nice. And then by like the 4th or 5th bite, you're like, oh bloody hell, I think I'm gonna be sick. Yeah.
I don't think it's a bit going to agree with that.
Yeah.
Hello Tony, hello Yara, hello Hilary, hello Christy. If I'm missing anyone, I do apologise. Tony, what's your thoughts? Can you ever have too much of a sweet cake? I would say this Kazimi does smell like it's got cumin into me. It's just got that kind of like, and you know how cumin is dry and curry-like. It's got that kind of feel to it. It just feels a tiny bit like there's a bit of cumin, probably blending in with the dirtier notes like the oud maybe and the hyrax. But it might just be a bit too much on that side for me, like a little bit too much on that dry spiciness. But it's definitely good.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I really like it.
Yara says you should try Sacre Tabac Sucre, Claire. It's one of my favourites from House of Matriarch. Have you tried that one, Rich?
I have not. She's got a lot of fragrances. She's actually got quite a lot of fragrances, and it's. I was shocked when I looked at like a whole back catalogue.
Yeah.
I don't know how many she's discontinued, but she has got a lot of fragrance, especially for an indie house. And she does everything herself, basically. And she blends everything herself. She doesn't outsource like the making of the perfume. So she must be like busy and comfortable with what she's doing. The amount of stuff she knocks out.
Yeah. Yara says could be Immortelle. Yeah, Yara, it could be. I could probably mix those two up because that's also got that sweet, as she says, sweet, spicy, cuminy smell to it. So yeah, it possibly could be. But I'm not getting the maple syrup side that you normally get from Immortelle. So not sure. It feels more like cumin to me than it does Immortelle. But
Yeah.
either way, neither of them are listed. So shall we move on to number 2 then, Rich, which is going to be Eau Noir from Dior.
It's Eau Noir from Dior. That
Eau
right.
Noir.
Give us 2 seconds because I need to open my drawer.
Yeah.
I need to open my drawers. Where are my drawers? Nice. Eau Noir. There you are. As you were talking about cumin and sweet spice and spicy and a little bit sweet. This has got everything.
Right.
Have you smelled it yet?
I did smell it again the other day, and I can't remember now. Is it rose fragrance?
Is it a rose fragrance? No.
No, it's just
it's a lavender coffee.
Oh yeah.
It's lavender coffee spice, strawberry. Maybe that's where you're getting the the rose from.
It
might very well.
Lavender. Yeah, I can. Yeah, it's a massive lavender. And did you say there's Immortelle in this?
Probably. I think there is actually.
Yeah, it feels like it because it's got the syrupy side of Immortelle, like that sort of sweet maple syrup, yet dry at the same time.
Yeah, it has got Immortelle in it. It's got coffee in it as well. Licorice, saffron, vanilla, violet, green stems,
right?
Leather, thyme, and sage, and cedar.
Okay.
It's just one of the most outrageous blends. Maison Francis. It was Francis Kurkdjian made it for Dior, and they first released it in 2004 as an eau de cologne. But it performed like an eau de parfum. When they first released the Dior Privé collection, it was only 3 fragrances, and it was Eau Noir, Bois d'Argent, and Cologne Blanche, and obviously Eau Noir was one of them. The one I've sent you is the eau de parfum, and this bottle's from 2013.
Yeah.
And it's almost impossible to find out. I had to get somebody to send it to us from Hawaii.
From Dubai.
Hawaii. It came from far afield.
Wow.
It's because it's rare as hen's teeth now.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Nice. I mean, it's from my taste, it's too much lavender.
Yeah.
And it's another dry one, and I tend to not really enjoy things that are very dry. And it feels dry and dusty and herbal with a little bit of sweetness.
Yeah, I think the Immortelle and the lavender sort of like they're in the heart, and I think they're major players. You've got the coffee as well.
Yeah.
And the coffee gives it like that dusty. It's like a coffee bean. Rather than have you smelled Follow by Kerosene?
No, I don't think so. No.
I should have sent you that as well. For Kerosene, that's the coffee fragrance, and that actually smells like the beans. You know when you walk into like a coffee shop and you smell the beans?
Yeah.
It smells like that, but then in the base, what happens is you get more of like the actual cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You get like the cream, and you get like an ambery sort of vibe. With this, there's none of that. This is just like the dust out the bottom of the bag of like a bag of beans.
It's almost like dried the coffee. The coffee beans have been left for years, and they've just completely dried out. And then you smash them with a hammer, so they become a really dry, dusty powder.
Yeah, and it's like in the air, and it's getting stuck in your throat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely got some of that to it. Definitely.
I'm getting more coffee now than I did when we first sprayed it. It was quite lavender heavy.
Got you.
Now I get more of the coffee and perhaps some of the vanilla.
Yeah. It's got a licorice. It's got a licorice note in as well. Have you smelled that?
No. It's reminding me a little tiny bit, and it's not the same as a 4160 fragrance, Goodbye Piccadilly. It's not the same, but it's giving that has got some notes in common, and it's just giving me those kind of vibes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice. You couldn't
eat a whole one.
No. But yeah, it's good. It's not quite my taste, but it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, it's more. Yeah, it's definitely more interesting than it is like nice.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
I would
It's
describe
definitely
it
not.
as beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost unobtainable sort of thing. Like how it's the type of thing that you would tell someone like that you would like perfume to be like. It's interesting more than like pleasing. Do you know what I mean? It's a very interesting fragrance, but it's if you were to wait, you can't imagine waking up one morning and saying to yourself, "Oh, I'd love to smell like that today."
Yeah, that's it. It's it doesn't have that mass appeal. Yeah, I'm not smelling it and thinking I really want to wear that, but but yeah, but it's not unwearable by any means at all. It's just yeah. Right.
If you compare it to everything that Coeur de Jean does now, it's very different. It's very different. It sort of fits in with that. It sort of fits in with like what they say about how Coeur de Jean does all his best work for other houses.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's quite different, isn't it, to what he normally does.
What he does for his own house, yeah.
Yeah. Like, well, yeah, and if you think about, I don't know, like his first one, the male, it's quite far removed from that as well. But despite having lavender in common. I'm going to go number 3, which is Balenciaga Pour Homme.
Oh yes, wait there. Hold on.
Wait there.
I need to put these.
Petra
so this is.
Petra says my favourite lavender is Mem, but not for everyone. Yeah, I've tried that. It's not for me. Didn't dislike it, but it's very full on lavender.
Yeah.
Tracy says love the way we have a drawer full of fragrances. Just checking the drawer to find the House of Matriarch samples I've got left.
So, do you think the lavender in Eau Noir is similar to the lavender in Le Male?
I don't know, because Le Male is such a different fragrance, isn't it? With the mint and quite a lot of the
vanilla
and the what is that kind of that musky sort of like aniseedy, not sure what is it. I've forgotten what it is. Is it my mind's gone blank, but there's like this kind of like musky cloud in Le Male.
Yeah, it's quite billowous. Yeah.
So
it's got cardamom.
I think it's when you team an ingredient in such a different composition, it's difficult to really say, isn't it?
Yeah. I think the lavender note in it, I think the structure of it is quite similar. I think he uses like a big lavender, like a big strong butch lavender note, and then surrounds it with stuff that's like you wouldn't expect it. Like, he uses lavender in quite an unexpected way. If you look what came before Le Male and what came after Le Male, like lavender was never used like that before, as like almost like an overwhelming sort of like butch punch in the gut.
Right. Yeah.
And it's got that, and then what everything else does is everything else seems to just like sort of like it's got hangers on. Like all the other notes seem to be hangers on.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's done a similar sort of job with Eau Noir that he did, even though they don't smell exactly the same. Like the way he's utilised the lavender is quite similar.
Yeah. Okay. Have you found your Balenciaga?
I've found me Balenciaga. That's right, I have. Where are you? There you are. So have you sprayed it? Have you ever smelled it before?
don't. I maybe Dan. Did Dan have it?
I don't have a clue.
I
don't think I've
know.
ever heard him talk about it.
I don't know, but I tell you now, don't like it.
Really?
Yeah. I can't. I'm trying to pinpoint what it is. It definitely has that really old school vibe.
Yeah, it's got a powdery sort of vibe to it.
I'm going to spray it again. It's got something in it that doesn't agree with me too well. Is it civet? There's an animalic in it. Civet or
I get an animalic vibe from it. Not a lot, like a lot of people say they don't, but it's the animalic vibe comes from the honey. You know, like honey can be quite animalic sometimes.
I would say there's more than that going on. I think there's castoreum maybe, because it's reminding me a bit of Kuros. Do you get that? Yeah,
it's in the same mold. It's in that sort of massive, like hairy chest, like 3 buttons undone at the top of the shirt, hairy chest, man with a mustache on holiday in the early 90s sort of vibe. He's got a bit of a gut as well, but he doesn't mind everybody seeing it.
He's like, I'm on with his sandals though.
Yes, oh yes. he's definitely a danger. He's definitely a danger. He's one of those. He's like a big man. Do you remember the advert for Southern Comfort where the bloke's walking along the beach and he's got a Southern Comfort. He's got a Southern Comfort in his hands and he's got like a mustache and like sunglasses on, and he's got like a big belly, and he's got his speedos on. This reminds me of that bloke. To me it smells very late 70s, mid 80s, like that sort of like the 10 years between 1977 and 1987.
Yeah.
But this was released in 1990.
I was thinking 70s when you're describing this man. I'm picturing like an old photo of my dad on the beach.
Yes.
With his hair and his hairy chest, his hair that was a bit too long.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing. Is it would you call it a fougere?
I
don't really know. It's kind of is it a bit oak mossy as well?
It's got a bit of oak moss in it, yeah, definitely. It's got a big patchouli note in it, and a big cinnamon, I would say like they're probably the biggest notes in it. It's got musk. It's got a musk. It's got an oak moss.
Yeah. It's not as animalic as I thought, actually. It's not as animalic as Kuros, not by a long shot, but it was just giving me Kuros vibes, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Kuros goes in like a cleaner sort of, like that's how it juxtaposes it. It's clean. It's very, very soapy, very, very clean, but also very animalic as well.
Yeah.
Whereas I think this juxtaposes like the like, if you've ever had like real honey, I'm sure you have, like you can get a slightly like vile.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get like a slightly, because bees stink as like animals, like a bee. If you've ever smelled a bee, bees absolutely stink. They smell terribly. They've got terrible BO for such a little animal. The smell so bad. Yeah. They're rancid.
I had a bee piss on me once.
Oh, that was nice of it.
Yeah, well, actually, I think it's happened a couple of times. You know, if you try and rescue them, if you see them sort of like struggling on the path,
right?
You're supposed to sort of try and help them out a little bit, aren't you?
Got you.
So I once walked along carrying this bee because I didn't have anywhere to. I didn't know what to do with it, and then it eventually kind of like warmed up, I guess, and just before it flew off, it did a wee on my hand.
Oh, that's nice. Just to remember where it had been. Must have been marking its territory.
I did look it up. Apparently, it's quite normal that they do that. They will piss on you if you help them out.
Oh God! I remember that. Next time someone tries to help us out, I just cock my leg. I just cock a leg, and I'll be like, "Get back."
I don't know if
no good
in human circles.
No,
but yeah, that's what
it's no good deed. No good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, let's
So
see.
you're not much of a fan of that. It's like warm. I think it's got a spicy vibe to it.
Yeah.
It's like an amber. It's got a. Did you ever smell Pavarotti?
I think I did, but I don't remember it now.
Yeah, that had like a honey patchouli.
Yeah.
I think honey and patchouli go well together, but I think it's a dated sort of a dated combination.
Yeah.
Gives it that sort of 90s Pavarotti smell. This smells like something Pavarotti would wear. It smells a little bit foody,
Right.
but like sweet food.
I don't know. I just can't get past the old school vibes. You know, it's just the sort of thing my dad would have worn.
Yeah.
You know, Dracar Noir territory, which was one of his signatures. It's maybe not as spicy or as fresh, but yeah, it's not unpleasant at all. And I've got past that. I don't really pick up the animalic anymore, but it's just a bit. It's just got that old fashioned, you know, feel to it. Which
Yeah. The perfumer was Gerard Anthony, and he'd been around for quite a while when he'd made this.
Yeah.
I can't remember what else it was he made. It might have been Paco Rabanne Pour Homme. That was another. That was like something else Dan liked. It was he'd made like a couple of those sort of classic fragrances, and he'd made them over like a long period of time. So it doesn't really surprise. It doesn't really surprise that he made a Zaro Pour Homme.
Oh right, yeah.
I'm having a look at what else he did as well. He made a Homme de Graisse, which I can't remember smelling. But he'd made quite a few old school fragrances like a long time ago. He did Excess as well by Paco Rabanne.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that explains some of the classic vibes in it.
Yeah. Okay, shall we move on to number 4, which is how do you say that? Loewe Pour Homme?
Loewe Pour Homme, that's right, Loewe.
Loewe. I've always just called it Low, but I've seen other people call it Loewe.
Yeah, it's strange. I thought it was German, but it's actually Spanish.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure you're going to like this either, actually.
Well, let's see. So, give it a second.
No problem. This is a big, it's powerful.
It's another lavender.
Big lavender, big lemon.
Whoa.
Yeah, it is. It's massive, isn't it? It smells. Do you get like a washing up powder sort of vibe from it?
Not so much powder, more like washing up liquid. It doesn't feel
right
at the moment. But it's almost like a lemon sherbet as well. It's got that sharp but slightly sweet tart lemon.
Yeah, this is. I hate lemon and fragrances. This is like one of the only lemons that I've ever liked. But it is big lemon.
And it's got a soap. It's got a soap note, isn't it? It's quite
soapy. This is an aromatic fougere.
Yeah.
This is like something like Dan would have forced on you back in the day. You know, like
you just mentioned, I think it was the Azaro one.
Yes.
Azaro, yeah, the really citrusy, fresh one.
Yeah. Azaro Pour Homme, it's definitely got some of that as well. This has got this was actually made before Azaro Pour Homme. This is a later iteration of like this was made in 1974 or 1971, and it was 1974, and it was originally released as under a Spanish name, which was Loewe para Hombra, which is obviously just Pour Homme in Spanish.
Yeah.
But the older one is a lot more blended. This is a lot more stark. This is a lot more punchy. It's not as well rounded. It's not as well sort of like it's not as well rounded.
It's got a bit of spice in it as well, hasn't it?
I think so. It's got a tangerine. and a basil.
Right. Yeah, I
That's
feel
what
like
it's
I'm
got in it.
picking up more of a spice underneath it. What though? I don't know. We are smelling. So Petra's asking, what are we smelling? This is called Loewe Pour Homme, or spelled
Loewe.
Loewe. So it's a Spanish brand.
Pour Homme.
Loewe.
I've put that in the chat for anybody wanting to know.
Oh, thanks, Ducky. Yeah, that's quite nice. I mean, it definitely has that old school feel again, but I find I don't mind the citrusy old school fragrances.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the Azar, I think that Azaro Pour Homme is perfectly wearable today by anyone of any age.
Yeah.
Even though it has this soapy, like old school feel, I think the citrus, this sharp and yet tart sweet, to me it's a lemon sherbet type note, really lifts it up and makes it wearable.
Yeah. So it's not just, it doesn't feel like stuffy, it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like something your dad would wear. It's got something, there's like a riff on it.
Yeah, it's definitely got a lift. It's got a little bit of sweetness, and it's nice and fresh and zingy. So even though it's got a bit of an old school soapy feel within that, I think it's balanced. So it could sort of reach a wider audience, because it will reach people that generally go for freshies and uplifting kind of fragrances, but it would also pull in that old school vintage loving crowd.
Yeah, I think this just smells very clean, with like a little bit of sweetness, and a little bit of depth. Sorry?
I'm going on
skin.
Yeah.
Going on skin.
That's got approval.
Yeah, I sent that to Greggy Boy, and he was head over heels about it. He absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah.
He quite likes his vintage stuff as well.
Yeah, he likes the classic feel, doesn't he?
Yes.
So this is modern meets vintage, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. I'm impressed.
Woo!
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 Woo! I reckon we'll move on then, Ducky, to Dior Homme 2005, which is.
Sorry, what was that? Which
Dior
is
Dior Homme 2005.
Oh, Dior Homme 2005. Oh, right. Give us a second. Oh, right.
This is a big library.
This is a big one. This is the silver stem.
Right.
This is the one that came out originally. Do you know how they've just reformulated it in 2020, and there was a huge riot about it in 2020. They've changed it. It hasn't got the iris in it anymore. It's a completely different fragrance.
Yes.
Well, before that, it was last reformulated in 2011 by Dior, and that's the one that everybody's been smelling and loving for the last 10 years. Yeah. But this is the actual original Dior Homme released in 2005, which was perfumed by Jacques Polge, who is now the in-house perfumer for Chanel, taking over from his dad.
Just
pre-Demarche. Well said. Must be true because it rhymes.
Yeah, exactly.
If you smell this and close your eyes,
so good.
Doesn't it smell like a Chanel fragrance?
It does. It's so smooth.
Yeah. Do you know what I should have done? I just want to slap myself. I should have sent you a 2011 version so you could compare the two. I'll send. Sorry.
Quite enjoyed sort of doing a comparison video on that.
Yeah, I will. I'll send you a decant of. I'll send you some more decants, and then you can do, and I'll include that one. You can do like a video, a standalone video where you can compare the two of them.
Yeah, because I've always been fascinated by the Dior Homme line anyway, because I really enjoy Dior Homme. I used to love Dior Homme Intense. Then I really fell in love with Dior Homme Parfum.
Right.
I did try the brand new Dior Homme, which to me just smelled like Ambroxan.
Yes.
I just couldn't get any. I couldn't believe what I was smelling. Yeah, but this is beautiful.
Yeah, it is absolutely stunning. I'll tell you what else. I'll tell you what else I've got as well. I have got. Do you know Dior Homme cologne?
Yes.
Right. Well, right. Dior Homme cologne was brought out a very similar story. Dior Homme cologne came out in 2007, just prior to Demaché, and it was made by Francis. It was made by Francis Kurkdjian.
Okay.
And this smells completely different to the one that Francois Demaché brought out again in 2013. This smells like that Dior Homme you've got there, but with citrus at the top. It's done with such a light touch. It's done so differently from anything you would expect from Francis Kurkdjian. When I think Francis Kurkdjian, I think like 8-pound hammer. Do you know those big hammers they use to break concrete?
Yeah.
Right. That's what I get. I mean, he swings it really well. He's very good with his like his big thundering blocks of like perfume. But to me, this is totally different. This is like using a tiny little chisel and like carving like facial features out of stone instead of like knocking like large blocks out of a wall.
Have you tried Petit Matin? Because I would say that's more of a delicate. It's a really lovely citrus. I mean,
yes,
it's ultimately just citrus, isn't it? But it is really beautifully done, I think.
Yeah, I have tried Le Petit Matin actually. He's a lot more complex. I mean, I've done him a disservice, a huge disservice by saying that he just likes to whack huge bits of perfume together. But he has got, there is more to him. He does do like that Eli Saab line that he did.
Saab, yeah, he does beautiful orange blossom. He's got a real touch of orange blossom, I think, which he does in most of those fragrances.
Yeah, and he's really good at, like, I don't know what it is that like other brands bring out in him. But
I guess, you know, if it's your own thing and you've got free reign, then what we're getting with his brand is his taste. And when he's working with other people, then he has to, you know,
it's a different structure.
Apply, So, but I haven't. What do I like? I do like the discontinued one, MFK. Oh, what's it called?
Amouage.
Apom,
yeah,
the female one.
Right.
Not immediately. It's a pretty kind of like overdose of white florals and ylang ylang, I think. But as it dries down, it is beautiful. So I've never needed to own anything from MFK.
No, I know what you mean. It's I've gone to buy. There's been like, I thought I was going to get Oud Cashmere Mood.
Yeah.
And it's just every time I smell them, I'm just like, I go to buy them and I'm like, I don't need this.
No.
Like there's other things I could get. There's other things I could get that I want more. There's always every time you get round to buying one, like at the last minute, you always like, you walk into the shop and you're like, ooh, I could spend that money on something else. I'll be able to get the MFK another time.
Which tells you all you need to know, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not an urgent brand, is it?
No, I mean, they've got that mass appeal, haven't they? And he obviously had a massive hit with Baccarat Rouge. By, you know, he started a trend by overdosing that sweet ethyl maltol and you know, playing on people's love of the sort of synthetics that I hate, but everyone loves the ambroxans and all the other sort of complex woody molecules. And he created something that is copied all over town all the time. So he did create something pretty unique at the time, didn't he? So props to him for that.
He is. He's always been. Maybe that's one of the things that's like that doesn't appeal about the brand. Maybe he's just ahead of his time. Maybe in 20 years' time, you'll be looking back and saying, "Oh, have you got a vintage bottle of Baccarat Rouge? Have you got one of the Baccarat, like one of the first runs of Baccarat Rouge in your collection? It'll be going for like 10 grand." And maybe it's us. And because if you think about it, he's done it quite often. Throughout his career, he has created like large scale bangers.
Well, look at Loewe, for God's sake. You know, his first commercial perfume, and it's still a massive seller to this day. How many years ago was Loewe?
It's 25 now. It's 25 years old, Loewe.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? Really.
It is. It is. To be fair, it's. I must admit, I've never liked Loewe. I didn't like it when it came out. I haven't liked it ever since, and I don't like it now. But you can't deny it. You can't deny it. It's a sheer force of perfume.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones you've just got to like throw your hands up and say, yes, it's great. It's a great. It's one of those ones. It's in like, if you were to do a top 10 best-selling perfumes of all time, it would definitely be in there. But whether it be one of the best perfumes of all time, sort of like Coldplay, you know, like Coldplay are one of the top selling artists of all time, but I don't like their music very much.
Yeah.
I don't.
To call the list the top 10 fragrances you must smell, or top 10 classic men's fragrances of all time.
Yeah, the most influential ones. Yeah.
Yeah. It would definitely hold a place quite near the top, along with Fahrenheit. I think Fahrenheit would be on that list.
Yes, Koros would be on that list for me.
Yeah.
I think Paul Monsieur, maybe Eau Sauvage, although they're almost the same fragrance. I'm looking through my collection trying to find more, but
John's going to say Jupe, which
Jupe.
Jupe. Or how do you pronounce it? Hoop? No, how do you pronounce
it? Yope.
Yeah, John's going to say Yope.
Yes.
It's fair enough. Cool Water or even Issey Miyake could go on there.
Yes, I would agree with both of those. Acqua di Gio.
Yeah.
You can't deny Acqua di Gio as much as I'd like to. You get it. It's like it just is. It's just one of those. If Jon Snow likes Dior Homme, I know somewhere that has the original release of Dior Homme. I don't know how much it is. I'd have to ask them. But if John wants to know, just John can get in touch with you and let us know if he wants a vintage Dior. But I imagine it's just as strong now as it was back in the day. Like Dior Homme doesn't strike me as the type of thing that would need many ingredients changing because it was probably all synthetic in the first place.
Yeah. You don't hear anyone talk about reformulations or anything with Dior, but to be fair, you don't hear anyone apart from John talk about Dior anyway. So
we've all got those guilty pleasures.
Let's go back to Dior Homme. It's almost got so obviously it's an iris fragrance, but it's got this sweetness and it's almost metallic without being like unpleasant metallic. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I think that's part of it. I think there's a leather note in this,
right?
And I think it might be whatever they've built, because they might have used castoreum to build the leather in it, and it has got that sort of like a twang in it, like a tang, or like, do you know? I don't know because you're a girl, but did you ever put batteries on your tongue when you were a kid?
I have done, yeah.
Like it's like the after twang of that sort of, like, I just thought that was something like stupid men did. But it's got that sort of after twang about it, and I totally know what you mean.
Almost like a penny, if you put a 2p or something, it's got that kind of like just that cold metallic feel without going really harsh or sharp or too metallic. It just has this sort of facet to it that's slightly metallic.
Yeah, it might be the vetiver, you know. It might be the vetiver, because vetiver can sometimes have like a vetiver and something like when you blend. This is like something I've always thought. When you blend vetiver and leather together, you always come out with something like Gucci Guilty Absolute.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know the one that smells like medical bandages?
Yeah. To me,
Like
that's
yeah.
really smoke. I find that one really smoky, but a bit, yeah, and medicinal, and like you say, like band-aids or plasters or whatever you call it.
Strange things for me. Strange things happen when you blend leather and vetiver.
Right.
And I think it might be that. But it's definitely, if not, it's probably something that they've used in the leather. It's also got a massive dose of like not chocolate. What's it called before it's made into chocolate?
Cocoa.
That's right. Cacao.
Yeah, so I think it's the same thing, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it's like the beans, the powder. Yeah. It's got a slight dryness.
Yeah.
But it's also got a there's a lot going on here. Like you could sit and talk about these fragrances, like this fragrance, for a very long time. It's got like that. Eugene often says how like Iris has got like a mushroom sort of like texture to it.
Yeah.
Like a slippery, leathery, like gooey sort of like, do you know when you rub your fingers together and it's got like that slight oil, but not.
Right.
It's got a funky texture, like a mushroomy texture.
Yeah.
Definitely get that from this as well. But the thing is that it moves around. It's constantly shifting. So you smell that, and then all of a sudden something else comes and like tickles your nose as well.
It's something almost Guerlain-like in there at the moment to my nose. I'm not sure. One of the sort of more sweeter Guerlains.
Right.
Which is a good thing.
Not always. Yes, it's never a bad thing to be compared to a Guerlain, is it?
No.
Could it be Lynn Stoned?
Sorry?
Could it be Lynn Stoned? I'm talking about the men's, maybe not the women's.
No, I'm not really sure. It's almost like, is there a hint of tonka, or I don't know, almost like something sort of sweet and spicy at the same time.
Oh, like you mean like the Guerlain?
Yeah, I don't really know, but it's maybe it's the vanilla, maybe it's the vanilla and iris is part of the Guerlain as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So maybe it's that, but it is really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy to find. I've got this 50ml here. You should see this 50ml. It's got like 5-10ml left in it.
Yeah.
And then I've got like another 50ml which has got 35ml left in it. And then I've got a couple of 100ml bottles. But I had to go to the far end of the earth to find them. And it was by chance as well. Like if you look for them, if you go on eBay now and look for them, they're going for like 350 quid.
Wow.
Which is just bonkers. Just bonkers. You shouldn't pay that.
No.
But it is very nice. But I'm happy to send you a sample of the 2011 version, because I've got a couple of bottles of that, because I thought they were discontinuing it. You know, when they brought out 2020.
Yeah.
I got come out in like a cold sweat. I thought, oh, that can discontinuing it. What am I going to do? So I like ran to the shop and I was like, quickly, how many have you got? And they were like, oh, we've only got like one left, but it's 150ml. I was like, take me money. So I bought that thinking that I'd never be able to buy it again. I'm just pouring a drink. Don't worry, I'm not doing anything underwater. So I went and bought that. So I've got plenty of that stuff. I wouldn't mind seeing you do a comparison video. Yeah,
cool. Thank you. Do you have Dior Homme Parfum? How do you feel about that one?
I like Dior Homme Parfum, but it's a bit. Do you know? I was talking about Coeur de Jean doing big wallops of perfume with a big hammer.
Yeah.
Like Dior Homme Parfum feels like a hammer blow to me.
Right.
It feels like, do you remember at the beginning of those old films where at the beginning of the film you would have like a bloke and he would be topless and he would smack the gong at the beginning of the film? It was like their
like
yes,
Victorian or big muscly man. Yeah.
Yes, he would smack the gong at the beginning of the film. It was their version of the Metro Goldwyn Mayer Lion. And it was that's what Dior Homme Parfum feels like to me. He's taken Dior Homme and he's gone more leather, and he's gone more, and it's not a delicate. It's not like this. If you smell this, it's not like this. This is very delicate, even though it's still quite strong. Like Dior Homme Parfum is a big unit of a perfume. You've got to be careful with Dior Homme Parfum, or it'll wear you.
I don't really find it over the top or too big. It's just, to me, from memory, because I haven't smelt it in a long time. From memory, it was just less on the iris, and then the dry down kind of had this. I always remember describing it as like this sexy, salty, woodsy kind of thing in the dry down that I just found really, really nice.
Right.
But it was more
that could be the leather. Some leather notes are very salty.
Yeah. It wasn't one I necessarily wanted to wear myself, but one I just sort of considered a really sexy men's fragrance. Whereas Dior Homme, I could totally wear this and not feel like, it's sweet enough for me. It suits me, kind of thing. But I definitely really like Dior Homme Parfum, and I totally get the hype on it.
Yeah, it's. I really like. I mean, I bought a bottle of it, and I wouldn't sell it, and I would probably back it up, because they have brought out 100 ml now. They've reformulated it and brought out 100 ml.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit petrified that it's not going to be the same, because it's very rare that you get a reformulated perfume that comes out better than its predecessor.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
That's very true.
Yeah. Rich, is it fair to say you're the backup king?
It's more than fair to say that. Yes, I would say that was more than fair to say. But you should say, if you give us a second, right? I'll see if I can turn my camera on for you. I'm a sweaty mess in my bedroom at the minute, so you're not getting my face. There's my carpet. Right, watch this, right?
All right.
They are all bottles of Balenciaga Pour Homme.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Right, but I found somewhere that had about 17, and I said to the bloke, I was like, wait, and I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 30. I bought 13 of them.
My God.
And I already had 4.
What's the sort of reasoning behind it?
Because it's gone. It's one of my favorite fragrances.
Are you ever going to get through that in your lifetime?
Yes, I think I will. And I'll tell you why. Because I've bought so much of it now, right? Then I'm not going to be afraid to wear it. It would be less likely that I would go through 500 ml than I would go through a litre. Does that make sense? I can now wear it. I can now wear it however I want, whenever I want, and not be scared that I'm going to go home one day and go to spray it and it's just going to be like, and there's going to be nothing there.
Right. Again, because this is the one I didn't like so much.
This is Balenciaga,
yeah. No, do you know what? That's changed. It's nicer. Assuming I'm sprayed, I've done the right one. Is it lemony as well?
I don't know if it's got citrus at the top.
It's reminding me of. Did I say this earlier? As Arso? Is this, or maybe I'm mixing up my?
No, that was Loewe. Loewe was the one you thought smelled a bit like a Zaro.
Yeah, I think I might be smelling that actually. The bits of paper. This smells a bit more animalic, more curiousy. So I reckon it's this one.
Yeah. It has got bergamot. But it's one of those perfumes that's got like 20 ingredients in it.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is with that, it's everybody. I think a lot of people who are serious collectors have those perfumes that it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of them. It's like it like thinks of that perfume. It's like, by God, I'm going to wear that perfume and I'm going to love it. Very rarely do I find people who smell Balenciaga Pour Homme and they're like, they feel the same way I do about it.
Yeah.
Like some people will say it smells really nice. Some people will say it smells awful. Some people will say it smells all right. But I think we've all got like one or two of those perfumes that just like you're absolutely like you're like over the moon in love with.
Yeah.
Like you can't get enough of them.
Yeah.
And that's one of mine. And I wouldn't have bought that much if it wasn't discontinued a long time ago.
Yeah.
But the thing is, as well, is that if I ever go, I mean, I'll never go. I can't see myself ever going off perfumes. But if I ever do, I'll be able to sell them, no problem.
Yeah. So
I'd probably give a couple away, like.
Right, I'm going to move on to number 6, which is Amouage Gentleman's Cologne.
Ooh. This is from 1984.
Right.
And it is the precursor to Goldman. This is the first Amouage fragrance. And it was released, and it is a classic chypre. I don't know. I think you'll either love this or you'll hate it.
Right.
I bet you just think it's all right now I've said that.
You're saying it's the very first Amouage fragrance ever?
Absolutely the first Amouage fragrance ever, unless they released a female version before this. But I think this is the first Amouage fragrance ever. Okay. 1984. 1984.
That's nice. It's quite sort of floral, and I would never have guessed it was a men's targeted fragrance. Bang
on. Absolutely spot on. It's crazy. It's a proper classic chypre. Like a girl on 1912 chypre sort of fragrance, isn't it? It's got the pissy civet.
It's got an animalic note to it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely got the pissy civet.
Yes,
it's got the pissy civet. It's got the white florals. It's got that like slightly citrusy top. It's got moss.
Yeah, you can smell the oak moss already.
Yeah. It is. It's one of those.
It's almost reminding me of Chanel No. 5, but not the aldehydes. Just that vintage ladies perfume, with the sharp white florals.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It totally reminds me of Chanel in general. It could be a Chanel.
Yes. Like a classic French perfume.
Yeah, like something you could find in your nan's house that you don't know what the hell it is, but you could tell it's ancient. Yeah.
It's got it was made by Guy Robert, who's another one of those classic French perfumers. I think what person who founded Amouage said is they've gone to one of the French perfume houses, and they've said, look, we are from Oman. We've got oil money. We've got one of the oldest emirates in the world. Like we want it to be respectable. We want classic French perfume, and don't skimp on the ingredients, sunshine. Do you know what I mean? It's like this is what we want. We want what the French have got, but better. We want to beat them at their own game,
right?
And just put the best ingredients you've got, and that's what they've done. It's rose hip, lily of the valley, and lily of the valley at the top, and then it's got incense. Then there's jasmine, orris root, myrrh.
Yeah,
I get massive jasmine from it. I hate white florals. See, I could never wear. See, this for me, this is something I could never wear. This is like I've bought this. I've really just got this as a piece of history. I've already promised to sell it to a friend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. And I just like, because I sent her a sample of it as well, and she was head over heels in love with it, and she's like into a vintage Chanel fragrances and all that sort of thing.
Really vintage Chanel. It really does.
It really does smell like vintage Chanel as well. Yeah. It's a tester, I won't lie. But if you go online, you can get a 50ml bottle of that for £500.
Wow.
On eBay.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't pay that for it. because it
No.
was a tester. But in the base, the civet musk. I think this is an old school musk as well.
Or like
This
Flora.
this yeah, like almost yeah, back before it got banned, sort of thing. Oak moss, amber, sandalwood, patchouli, and cedar. It's just got that classic. It's just got that classic base. Do you like it?
I don't dislike it. It's not the sort of thing I'd wear, just because it does feel a bit old school. Like it feels a bit too old school. I've got a couple of miniature Chanels. I've got Cocoa and Cocoa Noir, and it's reminding me of one of those. I'm not sure which one.
Right.
But it really is. It's just giving me old school Chanel vibes, but very much old, really old. And you can pick up the moss and the civet underneath it all, and it's not too animalic, but it is. It's there, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not the sort. I just would feel like if I wore this, I feel like people would think I smell old-fashioned. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
And as much as I always say I wear what I love and what I, whatever I want, and I don't worry too much about what people think. Underneath it all, I think I do care to a degree.
Yes.
And it doesn't really appeal to my senses because maybe it's just not sweet enough. It's not rounded enough. So it doesn't really, it doesn't do it for me anyway. But if I was to, I could totally wear it fine.
Do you know what I think it smells like? I think it smells like a grand old woman in like a ball gown on somewhere like the Titanic or in somewhere like Vienna. Like it's a set piece fragrance. You couldn't just put that on like if you were going to the shops. Like if you were going to like Tesco's or like the Co-op or something like that, you couldn't be just like splashing a bit of gentleman's cologne on.
No.
And it's mad to think that it's for a man as well. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I would 100. If you said to me, look, there's a lot of money if you guess whether it's men's or women's, I'd say it's women's 100%.
Yeah.
It feels like it reminds me of Chanel, the female marketed Chanel fragrances. It's a bit like Chanel No. 5 without the aldehydes, or maybe one of the Cocoa Noir, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the florals are quite pretty actually, and it is getting prettier. But it just has that really vintage feel that it would just make me think people are going to think I'm wearing my nan's perfume, or I smell like someone sort of twice my age should smell.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It smells like old women when you were a kid. Yeah. This is what old women smelled like when you were a kid. Yeah. I get that. I totally get that vibe from it.
Yeah, but very interesting. Really, really pleased to try that one, Rich. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it is. I think it's very interesting. I think it's really interesting. I respect it more than I like it.
Yeah.
It's not something I could never wear.
No, I might give it a go.
Go on then.
I might give it a go.
Let us know where and how.
Yeah, I'll get my boyfriend's opinion on it, because
that's right.
He's very honest. If he doesn't like something, he'll tell me.
That's the best
most of the time, it's very much, it's all right. It's all right. But he's rarely said I don't like that. I think there was one he didn't like, but I can't remember what that was. Right, so I'm going to move on to number 7, which is.
How many did I send you? I can't remember.
He sent me. Hang on. Oh, there's more. He sent me 8.
All right.
Right. So this one has a very strange name. It's called Hortus Sanitatis.
Hortus Sanitatis by Gucci.
Yeah.
Get in. I just bought that. I just received this when I sent it to you. This was one of the last perfumes I bought before No by July.
Oh,
yes, it looks like nuclear runoff water, doesn't it?
It looks. I'm expecting aquatic because it's kind of blue, but it's almost like you say. It's almost like a fluorescent, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this. Maybe don't tell me.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. Yeah, I'm just going to sit here and I just want to hear what you think.
I've never heard of it. I don't know if it's brand new or old.
Right.
And yeah, I know nothing about this whatsoever. Hortus, sort of. I'm thinking Hortus. Does that mean horticulturally? Like, is it going to be herbal, green? Oh no. So it's reminding me of Gucci Guilty Absolute.
All right.
I've got that barbecue vetiver like that. I don't know. There's an interesting aspect to it. So it does smell a bit like Frazzles, like barbecue. You know, the crisps.
Yes, yes.
Crisps. So I'm guessing it's linked to Gucci Guilty Absolute in some way.
I think I had exactly the same reaction you had. I thought it smelled exactly like Gucci Guilty Absolute. It does change after a while. Like if you wear it for like if you spray it every couple of days for a week, you'll notice like big differences.
I'd rather not.
Right. It's for me, like, it's part of the Gucci high end line. Really? that Alberto Marias has been doing. They charge like hundreds of pounds for a bottle.
I sent a bottle by a lovely lady who follows me on Instagram and YouTube, and she sent me a bottle of the Mimosa one, which was
all right.
The bottle is stunning. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
I am getting bacon crisps, but I am getting something a bit more appealing at the same time.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's got like a slightly amber vibe to it?
Is it? I feel like there's like a sweet aquatic note in there, like sugared water.
Right.
Almost like fairground. I don't know. Candy floss.
Yeah, like a synthetic sweetness.
Yeah.
So there's only 4 notes listed. Since this is a very recent release. This came out last year. Okay. So they're doing that thing now where they only give you like 3 notes or 4 notes at the most, which is a joke in my opinion. But there we are. So this has got papyrus.
Right.
It's got vetiver.
Definitely a really smoky vetiver, yeah.
Cedar and ginger.
Okay. Ooh. I would say he's got a bit of ethyl malto in there.
Like a bit of synthetic sweetness, yeah.
Like your Baccarat Rouge, not as heavy as it is in Baccarat Rouge, but I'm thinking sort of like candy floss or almost, yeah. I was feeling like almost like you took some candy floss and then you dunked it in a glass of water. Do you know what I mean? Like watery candy floss.
Yeah. It's a strange concept.
It's very synthetic, isn't it? To me.
It doesn't try to hide the fact that it's synthetic at all.
Yeah, it's got almost, and it's got a bit of a metallic vibe to it as well.
Yeah. Do you know what it reminds me of? Yeah. Do you know those eyeliners that you see like young people wearing now that are like neon green and neon pink and neon blue? It's got that sort of attitude about it. It's very it's not trying to like blend it, it's trying to stand out with its like not I don't want to say unnatural, but it's sort of like its synthetic nature.
Yeah, like it's because I was going to say it's reminding me of a fun fair, and I'm thinking of
neon lights,
the lights and the colours, and
smells, the noises,
multitude of things being thrown at you at once. And if you step into a fun fair, you've got everything going on at once, haven't you? You've got all sorts of machines and all the rides, and you've got all the smells and all the foods and all the stuff. It's like this is like all the stuff at once.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah, it's got all like the noises going off as well, like the games.
Yeah.
And how like how the games make all those strange noises.
yeah, it's completely overwhelming all of your senses. And if you're someone like me, that's not a good thing. It's like too much. It's
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, I need a bit more peace and quiet. It's reminding
Yes.
me a little bit of, you know, the MFK silver, the silver and the gold.
Mm.
Silver,
The gentle fluidity.
yeah, because I found them very synthetic and kind of metallic. I think the gold was a bit more appealing because it was a bit sweeter, vanillic, but maybe more like the silver one. Yeah, to me, this is not the perfumery that I like.
No.
Just because it feels so synthetic, and it is a little bit, you know, it's assaulting all my senses at once.
Yeah. I wouldn't like to own a lot of perfumes that smelled like this.
Yeah.
I would only like to own like a couple, because like there's I think this is very similar to like in not so I think that you should like only one person only ever needs one blue fragrance, because I think they all do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think with this type of fragrance, the Hortus Sanitatis, I don't think you would ever need any more than one fragrance like this, because I think they all do like the same thing.
Yeah.
And this is just the one that I decided to buy. This and Gucci Guilty Absolute.
Yeah.
Which one do you prefer out of the pair of them?
Well, with Gucci Guilty, I haven't smelt that in a long time, so I
All right.
can't compare. I mean, this
I'll send you a little bit of that as well if you want to compare them.
okay,
or would you prefer it not them?
This, I'm guessing this is a lot sweeter. I don't remember any sweetness whatsoever in the Gucci Guilty Absolute.
Right.
Whereas I'm getting quite a lot of sort of synthetic sweetness coming from this. So
got you.
This feels to me like it's been inspired by the Baccarat Rouge trend. Not to say that it's trying to copy Baccarat Rouge, and it doesn't, and it doesn't smell like Baccarat Rouge, but it's honing in on that trend of that kind of like you know, throwing a bit of candy floss at something and then going quite synthetic and quite unusual with the different synthetic notes, you know. Yeah, I don't dislike it. If I caught a whiff of it on someone else, I'd be impressed. If I walked past someone down the high street and I caught a whiff of that, I'd turn my head and I'd be thinking, there's a frag head, you know, because this is not an everyday fragrance that you buy in Boots.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is the sort of thing, if I smelt on someone in a pub, I'd say, you smell good, what are you wearing? Because I'd just be fascinated by it.
Yeah, it's more interesting than to your taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. But yeah, really interested to try that one. It's interesting how it's like a juxtaposition of this smoky, almost barbecue sort of like vetiver type accord with this sweetness. It's like you wouldn't think the two would work, and I'm not entirely sure they do, but they do, but it's just not to my taste. But interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I'm going to move on to the last one. Do you remember?
No. I don't have a clue. I can't remember at all.
I'll tell you what. You put the name of it and then in brackets Loewe.
Lol.
Does that give
Go
you a
on
clue?
then. That does give us a clue, but I still can't remember what it is.
Arso.
Yes, that's right. It smells a lot like well, I won't tell you what it smells like. I don't know if you've ever smelled what I'm talking about.
I
but
don't think I have.
Be interested. It's
so
by Profumum, Roma.
Yeah, Profumum Roma. I know Tony's a fan of Profumum Roma. I can't remember which one Tony bought or had, but yeah, Arsehole. I mean Arso. What a name! What a name! It's I remember someone saying to me. So you know how a car, for example, would gets its name, and then that car might be on a billboard in different countries, but sometimes the name of that car translates into something rude in a different country. And I can't remember. Fiat. I think there was a Fiat that did that. I can't remember what it was now, but you know, like it translates into small willy or you know, something silly. And then, so I'm guessing Arso works in Italian, but
I don't know what Arso means, actually. I'm going to look it up.
Right. Right. Okay. So Profumum Roma Arso smells like it's like a sweet hay.
Definitely right with the sweetness.
Mm.
I gotta. I'll let you have a bit of smell and see what you think, and then I'll tell you what.
Yeah. So it definitely it smells like actual sugar. Sugar. Because I remember I did have a decant of, is it there's aqua something sugar aqua can't remember what it was now, but it means like sugar water or something.
Okay.
And it's reminding me a little bit of that.
Right.
It's hard to say. I mean, it smells like actual sugar. It's difficult to find anything, but it's strong, you know, like, because if you smell real sugar, the smell is very slight, isn't it? But this smells like quite a strong sugar.
So what Arso?
Greenery?
There is green in it, yeah.
Yeah, it's changing now. Yes, it's almost like green, like fresh, wet, dewy grass. And it's been watered with sugar water.
Right. Are you getting any smoke?
Yeah, a little hint of like a smoke or an incense or something, but quite light.
Yeah. I'll tell you a little bit about it. It's Arso means burnt in Italian.
Okay.
And what it is
burnt sugar
is it's like sort of it's a pine fragrance.
Okay.
And it's meant to smell like a burning pine forest.
Right.
And the reason I bought it was because I love Feeling Agile by Serge Luton.
Okay, yeah.
And I couldn't find it for love nor money. I absolutely love it. And I couldn't find it for love nor money. And this smells very much like it.
Right.
But then I went and found 2 bottles. I went and found 2 bottles of Feeling Agile. So I've got this now and 2 bottles of that.
Yeah.
But this has got pine, it's got resin, it's got incense, it's got Virginia cedar and leather.
No sugar.
They're the notes. No sugar. I think what you're smelling might be the resin, like the resin and the incense. It's got a very sweet sap. If you've ever smelled pine sap, it smells very sweet, very sweet, very thick. It's almost like thick honey.
Yeah,
like solid honey.
As soon as you said pine, I get it, but it's not the pine of you know, we're all in the UK very familiar with pine scented bathroom bleaches and air fresheners and that, aren't we? And it's not taking me there, which is a good thing, because sometimes I smell pine in fragrances and I'm just instantly taken to a toilet. It's not what you want, is it?
Well, it's not ideal.
No.
It's not great for when you've got those like associations with fragrance, because you can't help it. You can't break those once you've got like an association there.
Yeah,
it's basically there.
That's it.
But this to me smells like if you were out. Did you ever go camping?
As a kid, yeah.
Yeah, this to me smells like camping in like a pine forest where you can smell like the sap on the wind.
Right.
And it's very sweet.
Yeah,
but it's also woody.
Marshmallow on a stick and they're roasting it in the fire.
Yes. Yes, you can smell the fire and the smoke as well. It's definitely got that.
Yes to Heather for Aqua Izukuro, that was the one.
Nowhere in the UK, I don't think anywhere in the UK sells smells. sells Profumum Roma.
Well, Joe Void used to. Do they not anymore?
I don't know. I think in fact, I think they've only got a few of them.
Yeah. Okay. I know in store, but it was a long time ago, and they had a lot on. As soon as you walk in, they were there on the wall. But and I think only got one there. But I haven't looked there. I've not been in Joe Void for quite a while, and I've not looked at the wall, and I don't think I've seen it online. So maybe they don't do it anymore. The only thing I find with Profumum Roma, the reason why I've never fallen in love with any of them, even though some of them I really like. The problem I have is a lot of them don't have any development.
Yes.
What do you think about this one for development?
Not huge. It does change a little bit, but I think you're right. I think basically if you've smelled it after 20 minutes, you've got the fragrance. The good thing I like about them is that they last forever.
Yeah.
But
they're
very thick. Yeah, they are really like thick and long. Like, you get your money's worth compared to a lot of other fragrances at the same price point. But like you say, they're not the most complex of, because Italian perfumery is usually quite changeable. Because like my favorite type of perfumery is Italian perfumery. But I think that it can get a little bit stuck. You get a lot of them that change between the top and the mid, but the mid and the base, it's not really there.
Yeah. And I think because they're quite sweet, and I think when fragrances are quite sweet, if they stay that way the whole time, I find I just get annoyed with them. And I had that problem with Naxos from Xerjoff. I love how it smells, but after about an hour or so, I want it to do something else, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I find that with the Profumum aromas I've tried Confetto, and I had a decant of Acqua Zucchero, which I always remember picking a jumper up off the floor, like you do, put this jumper on, and I smelt the jumper as it went over my head, and I was like, what was that? What was I wearing? Because that is amazing and I love it. And it was Acqua Zucchero, but again, it kind of didn't do much really, when you're wearing it. It's quite sweet, sugary fragrance, but just smelling it on the jumper, I always remember just going crazy for it. But they don't seem to do much. And for me, particularly those sweet type fragrances, it just gets too much for my nose. I think it's like, no, I need it to do something else now. So I've never bought a Profumum Roma.
No, I've got the patchouli one. I quite like that. That smells a lot like. Have you ever smelled real patchouli by Blanc 1920?
No.
Oh, that's if you don't like patchouli, do you?
I'm not a big patchouli fan, so I tend to avoid fragrances with the word patchouli in the name. I don't mind it as a background note, as a base note, if it's not too much. And there's some fragrances, like my Ruby Kona's got quite a big patchouli note, but I love it. It's a different kind of patchouli. It's sort of like an aged patchouli, like a dry, dusty. And then it's paired with quite a lot of sweet notes, so it works for me. But
I'm looking at some of my other fragrances now that I might send you. Have you ever smelled? You've smelled Samsara.
I've got a little bit left in an old vintage bottle.
I've got a 50ml vintage of that. Like the clear bottle.
Yeah, I think mine is, but I'm not sure if it's EDT or EDP. But it's like you can see through it. Yeah,
I've got the EDT as well. So I've got the EDP and the EDT. I was going to send you some of that. If you've got it, it's not a problem. Have you ever smelled the Zaharoff fragrances?
No, I really want to try the rose one.
I've got some. I'll send you. Just don't let us forget. Okay. I'll send you some. He's sent us some samples.
And one of the lads did send me a little bit of the original signature Dior Homme.
Yeah, yeah, I quite
so
like
I tried that. I haven't really given it a sort of fair testing, but I have got a little bit of that somewhere. But yeah, it's the signature rose one's really got my curiosity because that looks really nice.
Yeah, I'll send you some.
Oh,
no problem. I'm just looking around at other things to send you. I've got my collection split in two. I've got a spring and summer collection and an autumn winter collection. So when I open the autumn winter collection, I'll be able to send you like more stuff.
So vaulted away.
Sorry?
They vaulted, locked and
Vaulted away. That's right. Yeah, I put them away. I put them in the drawer. I've got like a bureau. I store my fragrances in a bureau.
Yeah.
And the ones I'm using, I keep like in the actual main bit, and then I put everything else in the drawers underneath.
Yeah.
And then I swap them around twice a year on the first. So it's only like a month. Sorry, what were you saying?
I'm just laughing at you.
Yes. Yes.
I like the way that you swap them around on the first. It's like, it sounds like you're quite specific about how you do things.
Yes, that's right. Well, the thing is, right, one of the best parts about it, right, is it denies you your fragrances. You know, it's like that old saying, how can I miss you if you won't go away?
Yeah.
It's like the fragrances are like, I'm denying myself the fragrances for 6 months. I'm like, at this point now, with like a month to go until I'm ready to switch them round. Like I'm getting quite desperate to wear me dark weather fragrances, me cold weather stuff. And then the same thing happens in 6 months' time when I swap them back round.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. I couldn't do it.
You couldn't do that.
No.
It's just the type of thing.
I don't have a massive collection. So I like to have them all available, just
at hand.
Yeah, and also if you do videos as well, sometimes you want to reach for stuff to put in a video that you're not necessarily going to be wearing. So yeah, but I've probably, because I've sold a few now, I've probably got my collection down to, I don't know, I haven't counted, but over 100, less than 140, somewhere in between.
Right. I think mine's up around 250 at the minute, not including backups.
Yeah.
So I don't need many more. I don't need many more. I take solace in the fact that like there are other people out there with like thousands.
Yeah.
So like I don't feel as though, I mean, if I was to walk up to somebody in the street and say, "Hey, I've got 250 fragrances," they'd probably lock us up.
Yeah.
But if I was to point at some other reviewers who have got like upwards of 1,000,
Sebastian.
then yeah, that would like Sebastian, Ashton, Stephen from Red Essence, like the big reviewers with thousands of fragrances. Like it's I feel okay for not having that many, for like only having 250. And I like all of them. I've got rid of the ones I don't like. And I would wear most of them as well. So, but I mean, it's different. It's the thing is as well. I've just done I'm doing No by July, and I haven't. Sorry.
I was going to ask how that's going.
Fine, I've done it. I've only got to the rest of tonight, and then Friday, and then Saturday, and then that's it. It's been, considering how many fragrances I buy and how much I enjoy looking and how much I enjoy like the whole thing around it, you know, like the whole like researching and finding out new stuff and buying stuff and being like carried away and everything. Considering all of that, I found it much easier than I thought it was going to be. And what I actually did is on the 30th of June, I actually put in a large haul, which was coming from Canada, and which took like about 8-9 days to come. So I sort of offset it. I sort of like, you know, I sort of like I massaged it a little bit, but I vehemently, because my friend was laughing at us, saying if people only knew that you'd been receiving fragrances. And I was like, well, no, because really I haven't actually bought anything. And it is no buy July, not no receive July.
Exactly.
So I have not bought, honestly, have not bought anything in no buy July. And I think a lot of people thought that I would cave. And I suppose I thought I would cave as well. But once I'd said I was going to do it, because I said it on one of Eugene's streams, and as soon as it came out my mouth, I was like, oh, what have you done? I was like, what have you done?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, right. I need to put a hole in quickly. And then I got it all done. And then I was like, first couple of weeks, the first week I was like, oh God, like, how's it going to be? What's going to be? And the second week, it wasn't so bad. And the third week, I got over like half of it. So I was like, well, there's less to go than I've already done. And then now I'm like in the last couple of days. And it's not been so bad, but I also did something else as well, which I didn't tell anybody about for no other reason than I didn't say. But I've on another challenge, which was to wear a different fragrance every day in July.
Yeah,
that's probably stretched us more, because there's been days where I've thought there's been days where I've been dying to throw on a certain fragrance, but I've already worn it, and I've been like, oh God. So I've got to wear something else, and I've just got to put it out of my mind, like the Loewe. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It really is. It is interesting how it's when you, because like you go through phases with fragrances where you'll wear them like 4 days out of 7. You know, like you're like, oh, I'm really loving this fragrance at the minute. The weather's perfect for this certain fragrance, or like I'm really in the sorry.
I'm like that with this at the moment.
Honey Amber.
I'm just wearing it all the time.
What is it? Who's it by?
It's the one of the natural ones from Dior Homme.
All right.
So it's a rich summery floral sort of it's got frangipani in it. It's a really pretty floral with a sweet sort of resinous vanilla-y backbone, and I just love it. I mean, I've only had that a couple of months and I've used that much, so it's like constantly it's on my skin in some form or other, even if it's not my main fragrance of the day. But,
you put some on your hand so you can just smell it yourself.
Yeah, I'd find it really difficult to just do one fragrance a day. Well, most days I wear 3 or 4 just during the day, because I'll have one up here, a different one here, and a different one here, just so I can get my stimulation.
Yes.
But I could still do that, I guess. But count that one as the one, and then wear a different one every day. I might make a fun video, do a little sort of vlog style video of me choosing my fragrance every day.
Yes, I think it's a good idea. Do it in August, or do it in September, or do it just because that's something as well that I decided. I think I only decided to do that on like the 3rd. You know, like the 3rd of July. Like I'd worn 3 different fragrance, and I was like, sod it, I'm going to double down. And I was just like, why am I doing this to myself? But I thought it would. That seriously, that's given me more trouble than not buying anything. But I bought a book. I bought a book on eBay. A book about perfumes.
Okay.
It was called. What was it called? I'll tell you what it was called. It was called the. It's like a Great Italian Perfumery.
Right.
Where is it? I'll tell you. The Handbook of Great Italian Perfumery.
Right.
And it's got like the history of like Italian perfumery and like all the different fragrances that have come from like Italian perfume houses throughout the years. And I'm really looking forward to that because I'm a huge fan. I mean, the Italian perfumery ones, it's going to be a big book. Can you imagine how big the French one would be?
Yeah.
The French one would be massive. You'd be able to like keep doors open with it. But
Yeah.
yes,
So what are you planning to? What are you going to buy? Have you got a list of stuff you're going to buy once
I have.
get to August?
I have. I think I'm going to buy the new Chanel. Do you know the Paris Edinburgh?
Edinburgh.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Edinburgh. That's right, Edinburgh.
Yeah. Is that
So
going
I
to be
think I'm going to.
is that going to be a blind buy?
No, I've smelled it. I smelled it before August was before July was. Excuse me, before July was upon us.
Mm.
I will tell you though, I have got an order set. I just haven't bought and paid for it.
Okay.
So I will tell you exactly what is in it. I've got a vintage Tabarome by Creed.
Right.
I've got a vintage Silver Mountain Water by Creed.
Yeah.
I've got a vintage Tuscany by Aramis, which is like a
Right.
leather, Italian leather. I'm not sure I'm going to keep that one. I'm not. I've got two vintage, the original Opium by YSL,
Okay.
like the female version. The
Yeah.
bottles, like the tall bottles with like the red cap and the gold on the top. I've got a vintage Chorus. I've got a vintage Dune by Christian Dior, but I'm thinking I might scrap that as well. And then I've got a vintage Obsession. I've got a vintage Obsession for men and a vintage Obsession for women, but that's for somebody else. And they're both splashes, but they're the Obsessions that were made by Calvin Klein Cosmetics.
Yeah.
So that was like the original. That was like the original. But they're from like a discounter in Canada. I'll send you a link to the website.
Okay.
You can have a bit squire through the stuff.
Mm.
I've bought quite a few good things off them. Their shipping's outrageous, mate. But that's, I mean, shipping costs. I don't know if you've noticed this, but shipping costs have gone through the roof this last year. Like the shipping's going to be like 200 Canadian dollars.
What?
Yeah, so it's like 110 quid from Canada.
Bloody hell!
Yeah.
I just couldn't.
No, I know it's a bit of a kick in the boobs when you're buying like perfume and you're paying like 10% for the shipping.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit minging. To be fair, it's not 10.
Yeah, that's a
But
bit.
that's what I'm thinking. What are you thinking of getting? You broke your no by July, didn't you?
I broke my no by July. Yeah.
Oh
So
no.
I broke it on an indie house. There's a lady called Marissa Zappas, and
Okay.
I happen to be following her already on Instagram. I don't know how that happened, but if I see an interesting indie brand, I just generally follow them. So that must be why. And then she did a post where she screenshotted all these different reviews of her perfumes, and the reviews were so compelling, you know, like
Yeah.
it wasn't just this smells amazing, I love it. There was more. They were deep.
Yeah.
They pulled at my heartstrings, and I thought I need to smell these perfumes. And then I went on the website. They didn't ship to the UK. And then I also found a limited edition or a limited release, a collaboration with an astrologist, and it's called Annabelle's Birthday Cake. And the notes
All right.
there's Hedione and balloons. There's actual balloons. Yeah, there's the usual sort of cake and icing sugar and stuff, and some tuberose frosting and rose, and so it sounded really good. And I got in touch and said, how many have you got left, because I'm planning to buy one at the end of the month. And she said, well, I've only got 4 left, so I can't guarantee there'll be one left. So I felt I needed to have one. So
yeah,
a lovely friend on Instagram, Sherry, she offered to let me have them shipped to her house, and then she would ship them on to me. So at the same time, I got some samples from St. Clair's, which is a natural perfumer. Is it St. Clair's or St. Clair's? A natural perfumer, also in the States. I got 2 samples. It's called Pandora and Eve. which just sound like my cup of tea again. So they're all coming. Sherry sent them on to me yesterday or today. So I'm excited, and I broke No by July. Hold up my hands.
Oh
But
no.
that's it. I didn't see that as the that's it now. I've blocked it now. So I didn't then go and buy anything else. I'm just going to extend it into. I might just do a No by August as well, because I don't need to. But when Tioni Reinfeld has her website back up and running, she's that natural perfumer I was just talking about. Her website's down at the moment. No, you can't order from her website at the moment. She's having a new one made. And when that comes up, that's coming up, I think about 2 weeks into August or thereabouts. I'm probably going to buy more stuff from her, because I just love everything that she does. So that's really where I want to be focusing at the moment, because I can't stop wearing my natural Tioni Reinfeld perfumes. I just love them. I'll send you a couple of little drops, Rich, but I am a bit tight. I'm a bit tight with them, because I love them so much.
Yeah, it's no problem.
But I understand. A couple of little drops, and you can give them a go. I think you'll be impressed.
Yeah. Have you ever smelled Hans Hendley stuff?
I have a couple, because Tracy from Comfort and Scent sent me. Is it Amora? I think I might have tried one.
Okay.
What do you like?
I tried Bloodline, which is the one that's like he has. Yeah, Bloodline's the one he does a lottery for. It's outrageously good, to be fair. It's not necessarily the blending, it's the note. It's the actual cedar. It's absolutely stunning. It really is good. But it's very hard to get. The other stuff he's done is really good as well. Like Fume. Fume smells like it's a bit like that Arso. It's got that sort of vibe, like a smoky, piney, fiery sort of fragrance. Moan's quite good, smells like grass.
Right.
There's the Bourbon's quite good, but I prefer. What do I prefer?
I prefer bourbon. Yeah, it wasn't what I expected. It was maybe too smoky, not quite sweet enough.
Yeah, I really like the Bourbon EDC because it's not as thick. Like the Bourbon parfum's far too thick for me. Very, very thick. Almost clinging on me, but it's like a vanilla Bourbon. And it's not like a designer vanilla that you get in stuff like Eros and stuff like that. It's very rich.
Yeah.
It's almost like cake mix. I'm trying to think. Rosenthal's quite nice. That's quite a like a rosy cedar sort of fragrance. I'm trying to think of the other ones. I haven't smelled them for a while. I've got them right there. But the Bloodline fragrance is outrageous. I asked him to tell us when he was going to do when he was going to sell them, but I heard a couple of weeks ago, he'd sold everything. So
yeah,
cheers for that. It's but there we are.
Yeah, I'd love to try more, but I just think there's so many amazing things outside of the water already, and going, and paying the shipping for samples from America or whatever, it can get a bit much, can't it? So yes. I try to avoid the lure of outside
foreign samples,
Europe, at least outside of Europe. But every now and then I do fall, like I fell for I've never even tried these Marissa Zappas, but something compelled me, so that's what I'll be doing. But yeah, I'm going to call it a day, Rich, because I'm getting tired. I get a bit drained.
No problem.
And my battery's probably drained on the phone as well. So we'll have to do this again because it's been really cool.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's been great.
yeah, I'll send you a couple of bits as well, and maybe we can kind of like go over, you know, some of yours, some of mine, whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been brilliant. Thanks everyone that's been watching. Sorry if I haven't been able to say hi so much or answer comments, etc. But it's always difficult when you're doing a stream with someone else. I find like it's difficult to get the balance right. But thank you all for joining. Thank you to Rich.
Thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, we'll catch you all soon. Bye. Are you waving?
I'm waving. I'm flapping a wing.
Bye, y'all. Right, I'm going to press end now.